Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Civil Justice Subcommittee for Tuesday, January the 23rd at 1:30 p.m. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Good afternoon. Representatives Bolso, Capley, Eldridge, Farmer, Grills, Lamberth, Parkinson, Todd, Chairman Russell. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, we have two new people here this year. It's Heather Aspel with Legal and Ryan Hamilton with Research. So thank you all. Welcome. And we'll start with personal orders. Any members have any personal orders today? Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did want to point out that Chairman Farmer wasn't sure where he was because I was on time this morning. So he thought he was in the wrong place. But I also want to point out, where's my intern at? Stand up, if you will. This is my one of my interns, Mr. Cornell White, and I think I got it right. And so y'all make him feel welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Leader Lamberth, you recognized?
I would like to indicate that Ms. Asbell is a former intern of ours. There are several former interns that are employed now in the House of Representatives, and we're proud of every one of them. So we're glad to have her part of this committee.
Great to have you. Anyone else, personal orders? Okay. If you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, we're missing somebody today, and that is Representative Beck. So if you'll join me in a 51-second moment of silence. He represented the 51st district, so let's give him a moment of silence. Thank you for that. We're going to miss Representative Beck. And first up is item number 1, House Bill 1645 by Leader Lamberth. We got a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
To recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is the same bill that came through during the special session. It was unsuccessful in the Senate at that juncture. My hope is that it will be successful in both chambers this year, but it is very straightforward. If someone has been convicted of felony harassment or felony stalking or aggravated stalking, they are already convicted felons. The victims in those circumstances are already eligible to get an order of protection, but under current law, they have to get it renewed every year. This would just say they can go and get a lifetime order of protection so that those creeps will have to just completely stay away from them.
Very good. Any questions for Leader Lamberth? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 1645 to send to Civil Justice Full. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes prevail. Civil Full.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Thank you. Item number 2, 1631, House Bill 1631 by Representative Bolzo. We do have a motion and a second. Representative Bolzo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As with HB 1645, which we just passed, this current bill was also passed all the way through the House in the special session, but was not acted upon by the Senate. This bill does just one thing. It clarifies in 49-50-803 that private schools that are pre-K through 12 have the right to develop their own firearms policy. Under the current language of the statute, it's private schools K through 12 that have that ability. This simply clarifies and expands that to pre-K through 12. And with that, we urge its passage, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions for Representative Bolzo? I've got a question. Will this just make it just like public schools?
Yeah, this relates just to private schools as defined in Title 49.
But just to clarify, it would just make it the same as public schools can. I know it don't affect public schools, but it make private schools be able to make their own policies just like public schools?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Yes.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, your question brought a question to mind for me. What is the law regarding public schools and creating their own handgun carry policy?
And we'll go out of session for legal to clarify that, because I think I got us on the off in the weeds on that. So we'll go out of session. Legal, you're recognized.
Elizabeth and Sonia, Legal Services. Just clarification, the statute currently allows private schools to set their own policies within certain parameters, but public school policy is set by statute. And so firearms are prohibited on public school property with some exceptions.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you. And just so I'm clear, what this bill is doing is going to allow, so it does, first of all, this bill does not mirror that of public schools then, am I correct? Were we incorrect in that assumption?
Legal, you're recognized.
That's correct. Private schools are allowed to adopt policies that would not be permitted in public school because public schools are bound by a separate statute.
And thank you. And under this bill, right now, as it stands, private schools are allowed to adopt those policies, correct? Right now, as the law stands right now.
Legal, you're recognized.
Currently, the law states that a K through 12 private school can adopt one of these policies. And this bill would change that to a pre-K through 12.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll go back in session. And seeing no more questions, we're voting on House Bill 16. I'm sorry, we got somebody that would like to testify. Miss Sarah Shoup. Sarah Shoup Newman. And we'll go out of session. If you'll make sure your little red light's on, you'll have 3 minutes. And as soon as you start talking, your 3 minutes will start, and we'll let you know when it's up.
Yes, sir. My name is Sarah Shoup Newman. I've been a parent at the Covenant School for the last 4 years and helped co-found a gun violence prevention and school safety organization, Covenant Families for Brighter Tomorrows, in our Action Fund after the tragedy on March 27th. The opinions I'm expressing are my own. I'm not an affiliate, nor do I speak on behalf of the Covenant School or church. Representative Bolso's bill is clarifying that pre-K should be included in a law enacted in 2016, which allows private schools K through 12 to implement handgun policies. In May 2023, following March, at the request of Representative Zachary, the Tennessee Attorney General issued an advisory opinion stated the current 2016 law already covers pre-K. While I strongly support protecting our schools with properly trained security, neither the current law nor Representative Bolso's proposed bill advocate for that. The current law only has 2 requirements for an individual to be able to possess handguns on a private school campus. That being, the person's not otherwise prohibited from carrying a handgun and that they have a Tennessee carry permit. The main purpose of an armed school security person is to neutralize, meaning to kill, the threat and prevent loss of life and bodily harm. Anyone who hasn't had extensive training, such as that provided to law enforcement officers, will likely be mentally unprepared to take a life, especially that of a student assailant. Both the National Association of School Resource Officers and the FBI recommend no firearms should be carried on school campuses except by carefully selected, specially trained individuals. Such training should include many things such as threat assessment, de-escalation techniques, how to work with students with disabilities, school laws, trauma-informed practice, and most importantly, specific hands-on armed assailant response training. The range of accuracy for a pistol in the hands of a trained police officer is 10 to 15 yards. The range of accuracy for an amateur shooter with a rifle, such as those used at the Covenant School on March 27th, is 100 yards. Severely outgunning a trained police officer, let alone a civilian without proper training. Anyone possessing a firearm on campus must be able to keep it ready both for immediate use and absolutely secure. They must receive training that enables them to overcome attempts to access their weapons. Firearms skills also diminish quickly, which is why most law enforcement agencies require their officers to practice on a shooting range frequently under simulated high-stress situations. Anyone without such ongoing practice is going to have difficulty using a firearm safely and effectively. A care permit does none of these. There's no tactile training and often no classroom education on how to handle an active shooter. This is not adequate. This is going to harm innocent individuals should a threat arrive. We must require in-depth training such as SRO courses, with actual scenario-based shooting practice under stressful situation, licensed armed guard training, requirements for routine competencies. This bill lacks all of those things. While our state
Ms. Newman, that's your 3 minutes, but we got time for questions. And we have any questions for Ms. Newman? Representative Bolzo.
Good afternoon, Ms. Newman. Thank you for being here. I just want to make sure I understand your position. Are you opposed to private schools making and implementing their own firearms policies?
Ms. Newman, if you'll make sure your red light's on, I accidentally cut it off.
I support that with proper policies in place to ensure that the individuals selected are adequately trained and that we aren't risking the lives of our students or staff. I don't want my son's life at risk by allowing somebody with a Tennessee handgun permit to be who's allowed to arm his school.
Representative Bolzo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the answer is yes, you do agree that private schools should be able to develop their own firearms policies, correct?
Ms. Newman, you're recognized.
Under specific circumstances, I do not agree with the current 2016 law.
Representative Bolzo, you're
Thank you,
recognized.
Mr. Chairman. And then finally, do you agree that the same policy should apply to a private school, whether it's a kindergarten through 12 or a pre-kindergarten through 12 school?
Ms. Newman, you're recognized.
I do, and I appreciate that the Attorney General already has commented on that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any more questions for Ms. Newman? Seeing none, we appreciate you coming out today and appreciate your testimony.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back in session. The previous question's been called. We're voting on House Bill 1631 to send it to the full civil. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes prevail. Full civil. Congratulations. All right, do we have any other business with the committee? Seeing no further business, without objection, we'll stand adjourned, subject to call of the chair. Is that right?